of like a role model too, because it's somebody coming up behind you that's watching you that at least want to get where you're at. So you can, this is a way to show them, okay, yes, you can be a leader, you can be business-like, you can get the job done, but you can still care
That's right.
for people.
That's it. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
That's it. It's really about
Oh,
having, it's about, loving care is about two things, really, in the end. It's what we call fire and light. It's being really loving, meaning that you want to be competent, disciplined, well-trained, and you want to have a heart and compassion. And what we often find is that people are either one way or the other. Either they're real, tough and efficient and effective, and they forgot their heart. Or sometimes we find out the other extreme, which is people that are real nice, but they're not really doing the job very well.
oh.
So there's nothing loving in a hospital, for example, about a nurse giving the wrong medications and being nice about it.
Oh, okay, I see
Yeah,
you mean. I didn't
yeah.
kind of catch it at
She may
first.
be,
But
yeah, she may be real nice, but meanwhile she's getting confused and giving the wrong medications out or making a mistake.
so
And, yeah.
it's like a balance. You
That's right.
need to learn how to balance
Exactly.
your professionalism with your humanism.
That's right. Exactly.
Just remember to still be human.
Yep.
And it does seem like, Mr. Chapman, it's kind of, some people are missing that message
Yeah.
in today's world. I don't know. Sometimes I can't even watch the news or keep up with the news because I'm kind of a crier. I get real emotional when I
You have a
hear
heart.
some.
Yeah.
Well, yes, when I hear somebody mistreating somebody, especially a child or older person, well, just anybody. But I really kind of get compassionate and upset over that, and it sounds like we just hear more and more of that, and that's what I want to do with this show. I mean, I do want to have reality. I know it's some hard things out here, but I want to also show people that, hey, there are still some good people
Yeah.
out here. I was talking to a gentleman last night that we went to dinner, and I know people heard us because we were talking so loud. I'm like, it seemed like everybody's so mad all the time. Look like the world is just mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a wonderful, bright sunshine we got. Our waitress, and I forgot her name, but I hope to have her on the show because she's also an aspiring poet, and she was just phenomenal. This woman was like a spot of sunshine in this restaurant. And
Yeah.
the poetries that she wrote, you could feel them. And even though she wrote them years ago, they're so timely. They're right for today.
Yeah.
They're just, I'm like, wow. And especially when she recited them, because she recited them but she had heart. And it was, I know some people that were going by us, they were kind of like, yeah, I guess thought we were kind of, but I'm like, why should we be embarrassed to talk to real people and say real things? It just looked like people are afraid
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
do that now.
One of my favorite poets is Maya Angelou. A lot of people's favorite poets.
Yes,
And
yes, he's one of mine also.
she has two lines in one of her poems. Love costs all we are and will ever be, but it is only love that will set us free.
Wow.
And it's the powerful ending of one of her poems, actually called "Touched by an Angel" is the name of the poem. And
Oh, like the show.
yeah, except that she wrote the poem before the show, and
Oh.
I don't think there's any connection. But the language of that poem reflects the difficulty of radical loving care. We all want to be nice, but what happens when you're confronted with a rude, tough, difficult patient or client? That's when love often counts the most. Or what happens if you're dealing with a coworker that's having a bad day, or maybe you're feeling a little bit resentful yourself. This love lives in all of us,
Right.
and the nature of charity work, we want to have that love kind of bubble up or flow through us. If you think of it from a religious standpoint.
Well, do we need to start some classes or?
Well, we offer them.
some?
Yeah, we actually
Really?
do teach classes, and the purpose of the classes operates on the assumption that everybody has the potential to be loving. And the purpose of the classes that we teach with charities is to help them kind of figure out what's the environment that's most likely to bring that out. Because if you beat down your staff, and as a former CEO of a hospital, I am pretty tough on my fellow CEOs, because I don't think most CEOs do a good enough job at that, of hospital CEOs in particular. Now we have, on the positive side, I want to mention a couple of really outstanding leaders
Okay,
here in town.
good.
One of them is well known actually is Becca Stevens, who runs the Magdalene Charity, and she's a
Oh, I've
Episcopal
heard of
priest as
that
well.
charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Magdalene is a marvelous organization, and they actually are probably
Good.
the
I
most.
need to have him on the show.
Yeah, well, you definitely should have Becca. She is very eloquent. And the thing about Magdalene is that they help women who've been involved in prostitution and drug addiction, typically
Right.
both, out of that. And they're doing about as good a job as anybody in the country. We have not found any charity anywhere in the United States that has the success rate that Magdalene has. So Becca
Wow.
deserves a lot of credit for that. Jan Jones at Live Hospice is a marvelous leader there. Hospice is one of the most, important services now being offered. Only
Yes.
came to the United States in 1974. And
Oh,
now
so this very new.
it is
It's
new.
fairly new
Yeah.
concept of taking care of a loved one. I don't know. Maybe we need to give the definition of what a live hospice is, but it's a hospital, kind of like the end of life.
Yeah.
Where they taking care of terminally ill
Mm-hmm.
patients. Doesn't matter what age they are. They can be as young as 2 years old and
Yeah.
as old as 102.
Yeah.
But they offer them a dignified and comfortable and compassionate way
That's
to
right.
continue. I'd like to say continue their journey.
Yes, exactly.
on-
Exactly. That's why they call it a live hospice, because they want to emphasize that the patients are alive.
Yes, they're alive.
And I think the powerful thing about this is nobody wants to die in a hospital hooked up to tubes. Nobody wants that. And nobody wants to
Yeah.
die in pain, and nobody wants to die alone. So here's hospice, particularly a live hospice, doing this spectacular job of really caring for people. A lot of times people will say at hospice they're getting the best care they ever got in their life from anybody.
Wow.
So they say we surround people with love. That's what, and Jan Jones is the leader of
And
that
then they also
organization.
work with the
Yeah.
families too, because this can be rough
That's right.
on the families. So not only that, they kind of open their arms wide and they bring in the patient and the family and say, here, you don't have to endure
That's right.
this alone.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And
Some